Welcome to Pemberley Farm. Well, this morning in the cold of winter, because this is January of 2026 in case you're watching this much later, it was in the 20s this morning. It's going to be colder than that later in this week, and it's the time of year that you think about colds and you think about trying to stay well. And so today we're going to talk about a tincture that we have had going. And this is a tincture of echinacea and honeysuckle buds. Now, this has been going for it's been over a month. It's been several months that this has been going. And what we did is I put a cup of honeysuckle buds and a cup of echinacea in the jar, and then I covered it with 80 proof vodka. And like I say, it has been kind of steeping in this for actually several months, but it's okay. Now, so before I start pouring this all up, you've got to say, well, you've heard of using echinacea, that it helps support your immune system and cold symptoms, and that's not a cure for the common cold. There's no cure for the common cold. All right, so let me stop there and let me make a disclaimer. Because, I don't want anybody saying, oh, well, she said. What I'm giving you today is information, okay? Information that could be helpful to you, and I suggest and encourage you to do your own research. But I'm not a doctor, I'm not a naturopath or anything like that, nor do I play one on YouTube or anywhere else. But I have studied a lot of herbal information and things that we use as well, and so this is something that I think could be useful to you. But again, do your own research. So now let's go on with this. All right, so we all know echinacea is an immune support. It improves cold symptoms and it helps fight infection. We've heard of echinacea for a long, long time, but most people would never have thought about honeysuckle buds. Well, let me tell you a little bit about honeysuckle buds. And so I've got notes because I'm old and I forget things, and I want to make sure I tell you everything. All right, again, this is information for you to check out for yourself. Honeysuckle buds are antibacterial. They means they help stop the spread of bacteria. They are antimicrobial. Okay, it kills microorganisms that encourages the growth of bacteria or mold. They are anti-inflammatory. Well, we all know that inflammation is a big deal in our body, but what is inflammation? Inflammation is the body's immune system response to an irritant. It can be some type of germ or whatever, but it's our body's response to that. And so the honeysuckle buds help in that. They help with the inflammation in your body. Inflammation in our bodies causes a lot of problems. You need to do a really good study on that and what all the problems that inflammation in your body can cause. All right, let's go on. Antispasmodic. That relaxes the smooth muscles that are in your internal organs. Years ago, I had some real problems with having gallbladder issues, and one of the things that the doctor gave me was a prescription medicine that did just that. It relaxed the smooth muscles in my internal organs to help calm down what was going on in my gallbladder. And so, when I discovered that, I thought, I could have taken, if I'd have known about it that time years ago, I could have done something to help myself naturally instead of having to go back to the doctor for that. So, now, am I saying that doctors have no place? Absolutely not. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for doctors. So, yes, they have a place, and when you need to go to the doctor, you need to go to the doctor. But there's also times, and I believe this in my heart of hearts, and I've said it before, that God put everything on this planet that we need to live a healthy life, and that when we do have issues, that those things help us get over the things that happen to us. So anyway, so that's what an antispasmodic is. Now, I'm not sure how to say this word. It's a depurative. I don't say it very well. But anyway, what that is, let me make sure look at my notes correct. It eliminates impurities from the body, and it also helps lower cholesterol. So, and it's a diuretic, which helps get rid of excess fluid in your bodies. You know, think about all the pills that have been handed out over the years. That there's just a diuretic to help, you know, people that had water weight, a lot of water weight that they were holding. These little honeysuckle buds would have helped with that. So I'm not saying do away with the doctor, but I'm just saying it is so important that we know that there are things out there that can be helpful to us, but we need to study and make sure we know what we're doing. All right, so we can do, say with the honeysuckle buds, going back, you know, staying with them, we can use the flowers as applied as a wash on skin that's inflamed, or infection or rashes or sores on our skin. You know, we get boo-boos, and especially as you get older, you're easy to get boo-boos, and so that helps with that. Okay, if you take it as a tea, it helps with fevers, sore throat, ulcers, indigestion, and colds. Again, there's no cure for the common cold, but you know, it would be nice if it was less severe. That's, you know, and so between that and the echinacea, that is something that is helpful. And then, we're putting the two together. So when you put the two together, they become a very powerful, quote unquote, natural antibiotic. Okay. So again, disclaimer here, do your own research. But again, God put, I believe it, that God put everything on the earth that we need. And so if we just studied it some and just think about it, modern medicine started out as this. Then later they came through and they started doing synthetic things to copy what God already had created. And so for me, I just soon take the thing God created as the thing that man copied and made it synthetic. So, but you do you. It's okay if you choose the other way, no problem. But you choose you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pour this up. All right, now this is a very fine sieve. It's very fine. However, because I don't want any little particles in this, I'm going to put some really good cheesecloth. This one is AUOON. It's very good cheesecloth. I also use the North Pro cheesecloth. It's very good as well. Anything that I use here today, I will put a link down in the description, an Amazon link. Now we are affiliates to Amazon, but if you go use our link, it helps us out a little bit and helps feed all our animals, but it doesn't cost you anything else. So anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to pour this up. All right, for the sake of the length of time of the video, I'm going to kind of set this aside and not do every little bit right this second. Like I said, for the sake of time on the video, but I'm going to show you the whole process, but we'll come back and do more. So I'm just going to let that sit right there. Hopefully, I'm going to let that, I'm going to sit it right there. How's that? All right, so because it's easier to pour up into these little things in this long neck measuring cup, I'm going to pour this into the measuring cup. All right, then I'm going to fill this. This is a 2-ounce dropper bottle. So if I was going to take a dose of this, I'll show you after. I'll show you after I get this poured up. So I'm just going to pour it in. You can get these little funnels. The funnels come in all sizes, all descriptions. I'm using this because it is the smaller one, because it's got a smaller neck that goes in the small mouth. This is a 16-ounce amber colored bottle. Why would I use amber colored bottles? Well, because I don't want light affecting the efficacy of this. And so the amber colored bottles, again, available on Amazon. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside now because we are going to, we'll have more. Now, for this, just going to sit that down. And so here's our 2-ounce bottle. If you were going to take a dose of this, that's a dropper full, okay? The droppers don't fill all the way up to the very top. That's a dropper full, and you would just take that under your tongue. All right, so I'm going to put that down. Now, always, always, always label, okay? You will never remember which bottle you sat where if they all look like this bottle. Same for the big bottle, because we have a cabinet in my office, which is also our apothecary, and all of the bottles are labeled because there's no way to know. I mean, if you smell of it, it's going to smell like alcohol because that's what's in it, you know. That's what it was, that's what the herbs were put in. And so it's going to smell like alcohol. You know, the herb has have a smell too, but you'll never remember. Always, always. And date it, okay? So now, because it's alcohol, it will last a very long time. If you were making a glycerite for, say for kids, if you wanted, or you didn't want alcohol at all. Now, we don't drink at all, but, you know, if it, even vanilla extract is alcohol. So, but if you've got kids and you don't want that, them to have the alcohol at all, or you don't want to, then you can make a glycerite, and all you do is use glycerin instead of alcohol. Now, it won't last as long. This will last a long time because it is alcohol. Glycerin will last a year or a year and a half. So anyway, this, you know, like I say, I wanted to do this because I know that most people, like I said, have known about echinacea for a long, long time, but they have not known about the honeysuckle buds. And I just think it's an important thing for us to know. The more we search and look at God's creation and what He has for us and what we can use. Now, are there some bad things out there? Well, of course there are. There are some things that are poisonous to us. And so that's why we should always do research. And even natural things sometimes have side effects. So I would encourage you, if you are on any kind of medication, that you would do research as to whether or not this might counteract or interact with the medication you're on, because you don't want to have issues with that. But research is a good thing. Knowledge is a good thing. And so that's what always I am wanting, is to get more and more knowledge of the things God has put here on the planet for us, and to learn about it, and to learn what we can do with it and how it can benefit us, or how we should leave that alone. So either way, we should know those things. All right, I thank you so much for coming along on our video this today. And I would like for you to remember to check us out on Facebook. We are Pemberley Farm Homestead, just like we are here on YouTube. And coming soon, we will have we have a website. It's pemberleyfarm.net. But after the end of this month, it will really start to be set up like we want it to be. And coming soon, there'll be a store there, because we blend herbal teas and a number of things that we would be glad to ship to you. We have a cookbook. I'll do a video on that later that we wrote that came out the end of this year, or this past year. So excited about that. And it's recipes that my family has used for many years. And so we'll talk about that and show you that. We may even do some cooking out of that cookbook. So anyway, thank you again for coming along on our video and watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. To tell your friends about us, to come and watch our videos. We appreciate you. God bless you from Pemberley Farm.